I would when the head of the you are the head of the Ignition project, and you will give us some first words. Thank you for that. Of course, I have to say hello and thank you for the SETU team, especially Laura and Keith, for organizing the event and for being hosts today. Benny and Mary. Benny, our keynote speaker, and Mary, you are one of our panelists. So happy to have you here, and we will get to know you later on a little bit more in detail. Finally, of course, all the participants. I'm really happy to having you here and talking to you about digital inclusion, digital literacy, and inclusive research. My name is Andreas Teufel. I come from the University of Applied Sciences in Bremen, Germany. And I will, in a minute, pass over the mic to Professor Benjamin Tannert, who is really just sitting across the floor. So we are next door neighbors in a way in our university. But we don't meet each other too often because of our different times. But I'm really happy to have you here and having a real expert in digital inclusion within our talk. It's a great fun having you. But Madeleine, now it's your turn, and let us know about Ignition.
Thank you so much, Andreas, and welcome as well, everyone. I'm part of the Ignition Cooperation Partnership. I am going to share some slides with you that give some context on why and how we are sitting here together today. And in the first place, also thank you very much, Andreas, for hosting this and organizing this event from Bremen, and of course the co-host from Southeast Technological University in Ireland, Laura and Keith. Thanks a lot for making this possible. So I'm going to share my screen with you in a second. Yes. And there it is, I hope. Yes, so my name is Madeleine van Oostrom, and I am an associate professor at Hanze University of Applied Sciences. My background is innovation sociology, and I am responsible for the research group Digital Literacy and Inclusion at our university. And also, we are the lead partners of this cooperation partnership, Ignition. That is an acronym for European Digital Literacy Coalition for Inclusion, Collaboration, and Innovation in Higher Education. And we have started since May 22. We've been developing with a lot of colleagues and experts from our partner universities and other external stakeholders, a community where we create and share knowledge on how to work in a more inclusive way with digital tools and digital interactions in higher education. So our partners are, as you can see in this slide, apart from Hochschule Bremen and Southeast Technological University as well, Polytechnic Institute of Bragança in Portugal, and we are an Erasmus Plus funded initiative. So I like to share always this photo because this is who the work do, the team, the family of Ignition. This was at our first learning, teaching, and training activity actually in Waterford. That was a wonderful activity organized by our Irish partners. And here we are in our full glory after or before a fantastic 3-day training. Well, what we actually do, or what we aim to do is, of course, to strengthen our partners, our project partners' skill set, and also their efforts in order to increase awareness and enhance digital literacy and inclusion of our teaching staff, of our students, and of course also the external partners that we work with. And we try to do this following this model that I have here on this slide, where we actually see there is a digital transformation going on, an ongoing transformation in our higher education institutions, just like many other organizations in society. And this digital transformation is about the 3 Ps, if you want: the people, the processes, well, and the tools. In Dutch it would work, but in English it doesn't. So people, we are doing things right. We work with students, we teach, we collaborate, we research, also with the external field. We have processes for that. We work with curriculum in research, innovation hubs and research groups and so on. And also we use tools for that, and every time more digital tools. So what we aim to do in Ignition is to facilitate the use of that tools with these other two P's, with the people and the processes. So we do that, establishing in the first place a digital agenda and the framework, because there is a European framework to measure these competences and to help organizations to get a grip on what skill set then actually would be wishful, would be good to develop with staff, teachers, and students. And we have developed a couple of tool sets. So we have a self-scan, we have a digital tool for assessing our own skill set, and we developed a game-based workshop for that. And we're also developing, well, actually, Bremen is in the lead for developing a tool set to engage better with the external stakeholders in a digital way, and also for digital literacy and inclusion in research and education. And then this community of practice that we are gathering here today, this is what we do. We gather twice a year and we discuss and comment on an important topic within this whole topic of digital literacy and inclusion. And we work with students on challenges in a challenge lab with regional partners. Right now we are running the second blended intensive program that we've been organizing from the Ignition Cooperation Partnership. And we are running with 8 student teams and different challenges, working on that right now online. And then in December, we will have a face-to-face week with all engaged partners and students here at Hamze in Groningen. So this is briefly what we do, what we aim to do. And we have a website where we present and share all the results and all the products that we have been creating, and in collaborative way. And we have, of course, a very well-visited social media channels, LinkedIn and Instagram. There we share all the insights that we have gained and all the collaborations we do. And of course, also this event is available there. And also all the other events that we've recorded and that we have information about it, it's also available on the website. So that was for me now, just to give a brief context of why we are here today. Thank you very much for being here, and I'm wishing you a very productive and insightful session.
Yes, thank you, Madeline. I think that was a good and very short, brief overview about our activities, and you will, in a minute, see how this relates to our topic today. So we talk about or discuss the question of inclusive research, and within this field, Benny will give us insights towards the question of accessibility, digital accessibility in the workspace through participatory evaluation. And this is not only the topic, but it's your topic, because we made it possible for you to choose from a topic. So Benny, as an expert, has not only one talk to be prepared, but he was able to just deliver 6 or 7 ideas what could be interesting for today. And so now, Benny, I really love to hear from you about bridging developers and target group, bringing them together. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the really good introduction, and also thank you to the organizing team to invite me today, and I'm happy to be here. I just will share my screen and then we can start with the talk. So yeah, hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Tannert. I'm, as Andreas already told, from the City University of Applied Science in Bremen, and we'll talk about inclusive research, and there especially about one of our projects with the topic digital accessibility in the workspace through participatory evaluation. I will give you a short overview. I have three main components I will talk about. First, I will give you an introduction on what we do at the Hochschule Bremen, and I will introduce the IDT. It's the Institute of for Digital Participation, and here we make a lot of research in this field. So a little bit to me in this short starting. I became a professor in the year 2020, and because of my own experiences, I wanted to make something in the field of scientific research and in the field of digital accessibility. And here I thought, wow, what can I make as a professor? So how can I manage this to make it a little bit broader than just make it by my own? And so I found a colleague, Professor Henning Lühr, and together we found an institute called the Institute of Digital Participation. In German, it's Institut für digitale Teilhabe. It's the short IDT is for this then. So, and in this IDT, we are an interdisciplinary team. So I think this is a really important part, that you don't just have the view of a computer science person, or just from the economic view or from the social science. So every view had to be inside this to get really good results in the end. And so we three, Professor Henning Lühr, Dr. Emil Drogala, and me are the head of this department, and we also try to have a team of different research fields to get real good results. So our mission in the institute is a little bit to make a gap between bridge the gap between the users and the developers and key players, maybe in the government or in other communities. So, and we try to bring them together, because often is the problem, these groups doesn't talk with each other. They talk about each other. And this is the main problem in our view. And here we try to, help a little bit to get them together. And in different fields, we try to make this, working. So also with we are trying to make more accessible IT systems and help the developers how they can manage all the requirements that came to them, or we try to talk with people in key positions so they get a new view, so some kind of sensibilization for the topic and something like this. So we try to change the world a little bit, I would say. And an important fact here is that our goal is to empower differently able persons. So everybody can have or can get a disability. Nobody knows what happens tomorrow. And I know a lot of people have already some kind of disability. Nothing special, but if you use glasses, it's the first step. So this is nothing bad. So I don't want to say this is a bad situation. But then you have to find your way to work with this situation. And here we want to try to help them to empower themselves and make the world a little bit in the way they can participate in every field they want, and not just in the fields that were made for them. And often, as you can see on the picture, there are ideas to make new things for people with disabilities, but if you don't ask them what they really need or how they need it, you will get something like this. So you can see on the bottom the lines for blind people, and if they would be a person and going this way, he would fall. So this is not a good idea, result in the end, and nobody asked the persons by themselves. It is a little bit our approach to change the processes in this field. I think most of you already heard this. Yeah, in the end, if the product is ready, the disabled people are asked, can you test it? So mostly it doesn't work because they didn't made it in a way that people can use it really. So they didn't ask them in the beginning. And this is the way we want to change a little bit. We want that the persons with disabilities are in the development process from the beginning. So everything that is that are there on as a requirements of these people have to be discussed, and different solutions have to be tested, and then the best should be done. And this is not the way it is today. And we want to change this a little bit so that the user needs are in the focus of the development process, and not just the users are there in the end to test. But as you decided, we want to talk today about one of our projects. So I gave you a short overview about our institute, and there we have the project Digital Accessibility in the Workspace through Participatory Evaluation. And to give you a short overview of this, we started with this project in 2022, and it will go until December 2026. So we have 2 years until it will be ended. And we have 7 scientific employees in this project. And again, we have an interdisciplinary team. And this in 2 ways. We on one way, we have different background. So one is from engineering science, others are from social science, or some from historical science also. We have one person in this but we have also different disabilities. So we have persons with hearing impairment, with seeing impairment, or with people from the autism spectrum. So we have different persons which have also different requirements. And this is sometimes it's challenging just to be together in this team and talk with each other, because a requirement for one person could be a challenge for another person, and you have to find a way in the middle. And also we found one interesting thing is that for people with disabilities, sometimes it is hard to change their hometown, to left their hometown where they have all their people and something like this. And so we decided that 3 of these employees changed their workplace for all the time to their hometown. So they don't work in Bremen. They one work in Berlin and 2 work in Bavaria. But as we saw in Corona, online work can be a good way. Not always, but if you do it good, this will be a good way. But also here we have to look on the requirements of these persons then, because it is hard not to be in the group all the time and just work from their own home. But this is another topic. In this project, we have the challenge that digital accessibility is mostly not an important thing in the technology design. Most of the developers didn't think about digital accessibility. They just try to make it the best way, but often they have no knowledge about how to do it, how to do digital accessibility, or what is needed to get a product in the end, in a way that all the people can use it. And here we want to try to bring them together a little bit more. So the end users with disabilities should be the persons that gave the developers feedback all the time, from the beginning of the development process until the end. And this is the thing we want to try. And in the end of the project, we want to have something like a model or a guideline or something like this, how you can do this, how you can involve the persons with disabilities in your development process, and how you can communicate, because this is also a special point. You can talk with each other, but you don't understand each other sometimes. So, and this is also something we want to try to give guideline how to handle this, or how to get this work. And for this, we have different approaches we try. What have we tried already? Some, because we work together with a big company here in northern Germany, which are making the workplaces for the governments in northern Germany, and they just use open source tools. So they put them together and make it ready so the government can work with it. And this is why we wanted to have a look into open source communities, how they manage accessibility in their development process and all this thing. And also what is needed to make it better in a way. So therefore, we try to find out, are there already some practice examples that work good, how where people with disabilities and the open source community work together maybe, and we wanted to share them afterwards. The second thing is that we want people with disabilities to participate and make some kind of empowerment. So we tried to make research, where are the biggest barriers in this working field for people with disabilities? How can we optimize the workplaces and something like this? And there also we worked all the time with people from the target group. So we talked with them, we observed them in their daily life and such things, to get some feedback how they do their life in the workplace, and what barriers exist. One key point of our project is also that we don't want to have individual workarounds. So most of the people with disability know that they often just make individual workaround to get something work. And this is not the way it should be. So normally it should be that everyone can use everything. This is my thinking about it. And this is also something where we want to come, but actually it is not in this case. So today, a lot of individual workarounds existing, but this workarounds also bring some new problems. Because if you look in the digital world, if you have a workaround to use your special keyboard or something like this, and the software gets an update, then your workaround maybe doesn't work anymore. So this happens a lot of times. And this is really frustrating and time expensive. And if you are not a technic person, you also need somebody who can make it working again. So this is also a problem. You again need somebody that helps you, which doesn't give you empowerment. It's the opposite of this. And this is something we also want to shift a little bit, so individual workarounds are not needed so often. And we also try to get the persons with disabilities more integrated into the whole process. I said in the beginning, this is also a goal of our institute, but it's also in this project that we find a way to bring the developers and the people with disabilities together, because just they know what are the needs. So what are the requirements? Often people ask me, because I'm in the institute, can you tell me what are the requirements of people with blindness? So you have a lot of experience and something like this, and I say, don't ask me, ask them. So, and yeah, this is very often that people talk about these persons, but not with these persons, or ask others because they are so-called experts. But normally just the person itself can say what are the requirements or the needs. Yeah. And this should be integrated from the beginning, so I said. I just want to give you some first findings and solution approaches we had in this project. We had a lot of interviews with developers and people from the target group, and yeah, we wanted to get also a feeling why it is like it is at the moment. So, and a lot of developers told us that they have less knowledge about digital accessibility. Sometimes they said, "Oh, I heard about something like WCAG, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines," but yeah, it is not always the same for normal software. Maybe there are some other requirements. So, and in Germany, you also have the BETV. It's the Barrierefreie Informationstechnikverordnung, a real German word, which is a little bit the WCAG in German. It's nothing more. And so, but the developers doesn't know more about it. And they also have no sensibilization for this topic. They say, okay, if I have to do it, I will try, but I don't know a lot of. And we talked a little bit more about it, and we had also interviews with the open source community and with people from companies where they develop proprietary software. And in the open source community, it is mostly you have maybe one or two persons that say, "Oh yeah, I'm interested in this field. I will make a little bit to this." And in the other companies, they clearly say, "We just make accessibility if the customer requested it, explicit." So they don't think about, yeah, we could do this just what because they want it. Now, if the customer doesn't say it, we will not think about it. In Germany, it's changing at the moment because there are some new laws that say also the software of companies have to be accessible. But yeah, it's in the starting point actually. The most important thing that I found was that a lot of people and of the developers said, we have no link to the target group. We don't know somebody who is blind or something like this. And also some said, I don't know how to ask them. I don't want to ask something they will not answer or something like this. So I can understand this. But if you ask the persons with disabilities, they say, ask us. If we don't want to answer, we will not answer. Just came to us, talk with us, but talk with us in the beginning of the development process and not in the end. So they want to develop together and not just let the developers make it and then we are there to test it in the end. On the other hand, people with disabilities sometimes say, yeah, we want to be part of the development process, but we have difficulties to formulate our requirements because of different reasons. So some people with learning disabilities or something like this cannot explicit say what are the facts they need really. So this is something what is not so easy. Others say, okay, yeah, the developers have something like a ticket system or something like this, but I cannot write. I'm not able to write because I have hearing impairment and I'm not. It's not possible for me to write. I just can sign language. So, and this is also some kind of problem. What, brings other problems in the later process, and in this way to bring them together to get that or to give them the opportunity to talk with each other. We tried to develop something what is called accessible digital cultural probes. I don't know if everybody of you know what is a cultural probe method. I see Andreas is shaking his head. So it's a method in the user-centered design process that you can use. And normally it's an analog way, but there are also digital ways. And you get mostly you get a kit of different pieces, maybe something to write, to make photos, to record something, audio or something like this. And then you get a question or two, and then you can answer this by your own in the way you want to answer it. And we thought about that this is a really good way how people with disabilities could handle it. It isn't important which impairment they have because they can choose the way they want to answer. And this is why we developed this, or we are developing this at the moment. And you can see on the right side, for example, on the upper side, you see something that is a diary. So a person can make, like a protocol diary, what they've have done in the last days, for example, or what they could answer belonging to the main question here. Here's the question, for example, which digital barriers do you have this week? So, and then the person can say this week, this day I have this, and the next day I had this. And so we get some feedback from them, or the developer can get feedback from them. And you could also have the possibility to make a photo or a small video. So you can say it with sign language. What do you want to say? Or for people with vision impairment, you could also just record your voice. So everybody can make or can choose a way they want by their own. And this is also a platform that we will use to get more information from the target group in our project. But we want to build this platform in a way that also developers can later use it to get to have the opportunity to communicate with people from the target group with this. And it's also it shall be also an opportunity for other researchers to use this platform with their own input and their own context and their own target group. So we will not just make a digital cultural probe for us, but also make a real platform so that others can also use this method in their research. So this is just one small thing there. Okay, I think the time is okay, Andreas. I just have a question now, because we had some a person that visited us in the last month. This was the federal government commissioner for matters relating to persons with disabilities. So a high person in Germany in the field of people with disabilities. His name is Jürgen Dusel. I can just, one moment. This one here. And we had a great talk with him, and he said that we make a really good work. And he also said we are the first in Germany who tried this, also not to talk about people with disabilities, but work with them and all this. And we made a photo. And here's my question. In every picture, there's always one person who is out of line. Do you recognize which person in this photo? Maybe. I don't know if you can say it in the chat or something else.
Well, I know the answer because I see the picture, but maybe one of the panelists or people with the mic on can have a look at slides and quote.
Well, I was going to be funny and say it's the man with the beard, but no.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
but no, it's clear, Benny, that obviously you're a person with a disability, and so the fact that you're an insider conducting the research is, I think, adds huge value to the research you're doing within the research group. So that's just an observation. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is also the why we wanted to bring you with this question. So obviously, it's me, but it's not the right answer. It's the right answer is that you always have somebody on the picture that is not looking into the camera.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, this was the shift Andreas and me thought about, and yeah, everybody looks at me in this moment, but this I have the same view. It should not be this way, but it is like it is. So, and we also want to try to shift this in the thinking of the persons a little bit. So, and I will end with a small quote from the State Disability Commissioner of Bremerhaven, and he said in 2019 that 10% of all people cannot work without digital accessibility. 40% of the people need aspects of it, but it is beneficial for 100% of all users. And this is something we want to bring into the into the life, that digital accessibility is not just something to help some small group or something like this. It is a beneficial thing for everyone in the end. And with this quote, I will say thank you for the time, and I'm open for questions of Andreas and of the audience. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Benny. Great talk, and I really, I have to say personally, I really love the approach to make inclusion a focus topic, not only having it as an additional topic. And just to give room for questions, answers from the audience, I would like to I wanted to open with the first question before we then, after discussion with the audience, come to the panel for getting a conclusion. But I already saw that I think Neisler grabbed my question. So the question is, do you have examples? So what is a good example for a digital inclusive workspace? What are your findings about that? I heard and learned that it's difficult to because there are so many ways of accessing, but maybe you have a good example that shows what your work is about.
Yeah, thank you for the question. This is really not easy to answer because there is not this one real good place. But we found out that there are requirements that are, yeah, challenging each other, and therefore the best way we found until now is that you give the users the opportunity to personalize the platform for their own requirements. So this is the way everybody can shift a little bit here, shift a little bit there, so they can use it by their own. And this is also the way I would say how a platform for everybody should be a little bit more.
Yeah. And Nigel, she grabbed also my second question, and I will so now say this is from Nigel and from me. The question in the chat number 2 is how transferable is this? You already talked about the WCAG, which I think most of us in this professional community know, so the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. But what sort of output will you have? Can others use your outputs, other academic institutions? How do you think about dissemination and creating? Do you want to create a guideline as well as the WCAG, or what is your plan?
Yeah, it is. We are not exactly at the moment, but something like a model or a guideline or something like this that help, for example, developers to come together with the persons of the target group and to communicate with each other. So all the problems we found at the moment, we will find solutions and put them into this model so that other researchers can use it, or people in the development somewhere in the companies also can also use it. So we will have something as output that should also be used afterwards to make the work between these groups better.
Yeah. So if I understand you right, this is, and Laura had this question in the chat as well, that this tool will be freely available. Will it be, in a way, open to further evaluation by a third party? So is it open access, or do you just give the guideline and people can do whatever they want with it? What is your towards this?
I think we will give it to everybody, but we will also evaluate it afterwards again and again because it will always change. So you cannot say, okay, this is the actual state, and with this we will end, because there will be some other influences in the future or some technical development that change something or like this, and therefore there. And our approach is that we will also work on it later on after the project.
So it's continuous work.
Yes. But it is also if somebody else will use it, everybody can use it in the end.
Yeah. So maybe at this stage of the talk, we encourage our participants again to use the chat to post questions, while I will have a lot of more questions, and maybe this is even the moment when we can say hello to Mary once again, because I would love to include you in this final session when talking about digital inclusion, inclusive research. And I read in your and in your teaching abstracts that you teach social and enterprise innovation. And from that perspective, it's of course very, very interesting to see how you think on participatory evaluation. So how are, or what are your experiences with this?
Okay, thanks, Andreas, and thank you, Benny, for really insightful presentation. My background is originally in marketing, so I think what you're doing is asking the end user to a large extent what they need, and so I'm really heartened to hear that you put the end user or the student at the heart of the work that you do, instead of designing something that you think that they need. So it's asking, listening, producing, and then giving it to them in terms of what they need. And I think that's really at the heart of good practice in product or program design. We do a lot of work with community groups in the Faculty of Education and Lifelong Learning, and we are working with community groups to find out what are the needs of our learners, particularly people who are involved in the community voluntary sector, in adult literacy, just to see what are the current trends. So when I think about digital literacy, I often think about there is a sort of an age divide in Ireland about people who are digitally literate and those who aren't, and particularly people with 70 plus may have difficulties. So I was really interested in the cultural probe. It was something new for me to learn about. It's a very creative approach, and it gives people different ways of giving their feedback, and I really think that's really important. And it's also about asking people, to tell you, sometimes they might find it hard to articulate their needs, but if they can give examples about how they can be involved in the process, I think that's very interesting. And I suppose I was just wondering, one question that came up, in Ireland, there's quite a lot of legislation about including people with disability and breaking down barriers to disability. And I was wondering, is it the same in Germany, that there's almost sort of a government policy, to get people's involvement and frameworks, for breaking down barriers for people with disability, is that at the heart of the work that you do?
Yeah, in Germany, it's similar. It's not so easy. But we together try to find ways how we can manage this to work with the people. And also it is important which information you have about or want to have about the person. So if you try not to get too deep details about the disability, then it is easy. But sometimes you need this information. So, and then it becomes hard. And there you have to find a good way to, get information, but also make what the law says. So this is a problem we often have at the moment. So I could say it's similar to you.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe I can add something from the German perspective. I think if it comes to legislation and if it comes to what is written on paper or digitally laid down, this is of course a goal and a process. But
Yes.
if it comes to reality, things look pretty different. And I have to say that we are not in a state of inclusive society the way we should be. It's far off what we want to have, and what people say we should have is not the reality. And this is really, to me, a thing that we have to work on. And therefore, I really like the approach of Benjamin. And Mary, you said that it is a creative process, and I remembered that I forgot to say something about my field of expertise. So I'm a designer. And if I hear about participatory evaluation, of course, the bell is ringing and saying, it's human-centered design. It's the way we as designers develop innovation. And so there's a huge correspondence between the computer science aspect, the design aspect, and even the social science and marketing aspect of these innovations. And when I was discussing with Benny before, I had the idea that we really have to focus on this user human-centered innovation. We need to get people involved. We need to get the insights from the experts of their own lives in the moment we develop digital tools. And this brings me to very question or relation, and maybe we can even involve some of our colleagues here. Madeline already said that we develop these BIP formats with digital challenge and innovation labs, and within these labs we ask for challenges students shall solve within the BIP format, the blended intensive program format. And these are questions which do not have fixed or proper answers. You have to research for them, and you have to go out and have to ask the target groups and have to understand what the target group is about, what are their needs, as Benny said. And I think we are in the Ignition project at the very stage how to bring this into academic research, to not go deep into the discipline. This is what we can as institutions of higher education, but to broaden, to widen the perspective and to get different insights, especially insights from our target groups. So I really think that this may resonate with you, Mary, and of course with Benny. So what about the teaching and the learning aspect of digital inclusion? What do you think?
I think COVID taught us an awful lot about digital inclusion because at the start, and I say, Benny, it was perfect timing for the development of your centre, to coincide with COVID. But there was an assumption that all of our students were digitally literate and had access to all digital appliances when we migrated to fully online. And that wasn't the case. There were various initiatives. Laura and Keith and SETU are very familiar with the Centre for Enhancement of Teaching and Learning through the CTEL Centre in Waterford. And they did an awful lot of work on bringing people up the curve in terms of digital literacy and accessing courses online during COVID. So I think there was an awful lot of work done during that period of time. And I think there's a lot of research that we could still do amongst our students to see how effective it was, because some students really relished migrating online, whereas others really resisted it. And similarly, some of our lecturers loved being online, whereas others resisted it. So it would be very good just to see, when we're designing programs, what programs are particularly suitable for online delivery and what needs the blended or face-to-face. So I don't know if that answers the question, but it's asking the end users and potential students how they'd like to learn in the future.
Yes, of course, this answers the question. And I saw in the chat, Madeline, you had a good question. So I will bring it to the audience. How do you the business challenge economic feasibility for human-centered technology if this requires a lot of more time and creative ways to involve people, especially the lesser literate, that aren't that available or confident for participating in co-creation or test sessions. So you see, I need my glasses. Doesn't work without. But the question is really, how do you tackle how do you get people involved who are not able to, or maybe not common or on common ground when having these co-creation processes? How do you get them? So the question to Benny, of course. And we have to look at the time because we only have 2 minutes. So maybe this is almost the last question. There's another one in the chat, but Benny, please.
Yeah, you have to go through the person. So you have to try to explain them how they could be part of it, and this often helps to get the people into the process. If you talk with them about it and also try to make a solution together. But in the business part, it's hard because you have to talk with the deciding with the key persons that decide something like this. And here it is harder to say, yeah, this could be a little bit longer if you make it this way. And you will get a good result, but you will not get more money for it. And this is often a challenge. So how you can talk with them and find good reasons to change their point of view a little bit. And
I think looking at the time, I have to say, sorry for that to interrupt, but we now have the moment to find some sort of a resume or maybe final status to this question. To me, I think Laura brought it chat. It's designing for people, making it inclusive for all target groups that are relevant, means preparing good digital solutions. And so this is, of course, an approach, especially looking at the cultural probe, that really can work and will be a future opportunity to get to better solutions, to better decisions for digital inclusion. So now I think we are at the end of this session, and as we can see, 1 hour is not enough. We should do this in the future again. So,
And
yes.
speaking of the future, Andreas, we have the final event is due to take place in Bremen in the end of January, the final event of the COP. So further details will be announced. And Aidan, I see you kind of posted a question, so we might follow that up with Benjamin directly, because it's a very relevant question, but unfortunately we're out of time. But over to you, Andreas.
Yes. So almost nothing more to say. Thank you, all of you, especially again to Madelon, and of course, once again to the team at SCTU. Thank you, Mary, for being with us and giving insights. Thank you, Benny, for having a good talk about what is your institute for. I haven't had the chance to give all my questions to the audience, but I prepared a lot. So now we are over time, and I say thank you, all of you. Thank you for your participation. Hope it was a good hour. You had fun and insights, and yeah, let's see us next time. Thank you very much.